So long, and I'm tired. The lies, the cheating with men, with his bodyguard at some point. I'm done.
From J.A. Rule's wife allegedly exposing him over claims of an affair with his bodyguard, to Benzino's partner leaking private screenshots, and even Trina dropping a cryptic forward bombshell about French Montana, we're stepping into the moments when some of hip-hop's biggest names were reportedly put on blast by the very people closest to them. We start with Ja Rule. In hip-hop, few stories hit harder than a prison comeback, and in 2013, Jeffrey Atkins, better known as Ja Rule, stepped out of federal prison after serving time on gun and tax charges. He returned with his freedom back, his music still intact, and his wife Aisha by his side, his high school sweetheart who had been with him long before fame ever entered the picture. 4 years, they were held up as one of the most stable, loyal couples in the industry. But that image didn't last. The internet suddenly flipped the narrative upside down. Ahead of a rumored MTV documentary titled Married Life After Prison, explosive alleged quotes attributed to Aisha began spreading across social media and gossip sites. The tone was harsh, emotional, and messy, claiming their marriage was collapsing because Ja Rule was allegedly leaving her for a man he met while incarcerated, and even hinting at a shocking affair with his own bodyguard.
So long, and I'm tired. The lies, the cheating with men, with his bodyguard at some point. I'm done.
These alleged quotes were intense and unusually specific, exactly the kind of clickbait that immediately grabs attention. Even in the pre-Twitter era, the story spread fast across gossip blogs, forums, and message boards, moving like a digital wildfire. Within days, it had taken over the conversation online, with comment sections completely overwhelmed by speculation and debate. For Ja Rule, who was focused on rebuilding his life and career after prison, the timing couldn't have been worse. But Ja Rule didn't stay quiet. He responded firmly on Twitter, shutting the rumors down with clear frustration. He called the claims completely false, pointing to them as fabrications pushed by clowns and unreliable, attention-chasing websites. His message was consistent and direct. There was no truth to any of it, and his marriage with Aisha was still intact. His denial was later amplified by outlets like The Independent and HuffPost, and over time, the couple has remained together. The key point is that no documentary ever surfaced, no interview ever confirmed the story, and no credible evidence ever supported the allegations. What makes the Ja Rule situation stand out is how easily the internet can turn pure speculation into something that feels real. Because the narrative involved a man returning from prison, it seemed believable to some audiences, even without a single verified source. Ja Rule has consistently maintained that the rumors were intentional attempts to damage his reputation and family life, and despite occasional resurfacing online, nothing has ever proved them true. While the Ja Rule situation was built on anonymous internet rumors and quotes his wife never actually said, the next case is a completely different story. This time, it's not about hearsay, it's about a very public social media firestorm, backed by alleged screenshots that millions of people could actually see. Benzino, real name Raymond Scott, former co-owner of The Source and a longtime figure in hip-hop, found himself at the center of a major scandal in late 2015. This didn't come from random blogs or message boards, it came straight from within his inner circle. Althea Hart, the mother of his child and his then partner, took to Instagram and posted what she claimed were private text message screenshots. These weren't subtle hints or vague accusations. Althea placed the alleged receipts directly in the public eye, leaving people to interpret them for themselves. The messages she shared accused Benzino of being involved in a sexual relationship with R&B singer Bobby V, and even suggested he had admitted to being bisexual. Lines such as "You were actually *****ing Bobby V, and so, you're admitting your bisexuality?" OMG appeared in the screenshots, instantly fueling shock and debate online. Althea presented the leak as a breaking point, framing it as the final betrayal after trying to hold the relationship together. Benzino, on his end, quickly pushed back, denying everything and threatening legal action for defamation.
Knowledge, Carlos. Am I gay?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know you to be gay. That's why I want to, and that's been my right. So,
first of all, she's not in her right mind.
Benzino didn't go into a point-by-point breakdown of the accusations or try to dismantle them one claim at a time. Instead, his response stayed strictly legal in tone. He argued that Althea's actions crossed the line and said he would be handling everything through the courts. But in situations like this, whether a lawsuit actually follows often becomes secondary. In the digital era, once something like that is posted, the damage is already in motion. And that's exactly what happened here. The story quickly moved beyond Instagram and spread across major platforms like Hot 97 and Hot New Hip Hop, gaining traction far beyond its original post. What made it so explosive wasn't just the drama itself, it was the level of detail. This wasn't a vague rumor or industry gossip. It involved specific names, direct allegations, and supposed admissions laid out in a way that felt immediate and personal. The fact that Bobby V already had his own history of public controversy only added more oxygen to the fire. And while Benzino has consistently maintained a straight public identity throughout his career and never confirmed any of the claims, once receipts start circulating, the narrative often takes on a life of its own. In these situations, the image tends to stick far longer than any denial ever does. But if Benzino's story reflects a messy breakup amplified by leaked messages, French Montana's situation plays out in a very different way, one where ambiguity itself becomes the headline. Karine Carbouch, known as French Montana, becomes one of the most intriguing cases on this list because of how carefully Trina chose her words when discussing their past. The two were publicly linked around 2013 and 2014, which immediately sparked heavy speculation across hip-hop gossip circles. However, when Trina later addressed the situation in interviews, including appearances on platforms like The Breakfast Club, her wording was deliberate, restrained, and surprisingly vague, yet still loaded enough to keep fans questioning what really happened between them. Trina kept it straightforward at first, insisting that she and French Montana were simply friends. But then she added a cryptic layer that instantly changed the tone of the conversation, saying she didn't want to expose him and describing him as a different type of individual. Those carefully chosen words, especially coming from someone directly linked to him, were enough to set the internet ablaze. Once that clip and commentary circulated and were amplified by media coverage from outlets and personalities like Karen Civil, the speculation took on a life of its own. In the court of public opinion, even hesitation can sound like a statement, and the comment sections were quick to fill in every possible gap with their own interpretations. French Montana responded in a more controlled, low-key way. He leaned on timeline explanations around his personal life and framed the situation as nothing more than standard celebrity gossip being stretched out of proportion. Publicly, he has consistently maintained his straight persona and never acknowledged anything beyond rumor. Still, Trina's vague phrasing proved difficult to erase completely, and like many moments in the social media era, a few carefully chosen words ended up carrying more weight than any full denial ever could. But not every rumor in hip-hop begins with a partner or a breakup. Sometimes, it starts from rivals, beefs, and industry warfare. That brings us to Dr. Dre Real, whose name is Andre Young, whose name has been tied to rumors so old they've practically become part of hip-hop folklore. Unlike the previous cases, this narrative didn't emerge from a relationship dispute. It traces back to one of the most aggressive and chaotic eras in West Coast rap history, where personal attacks were weaponized as part of the music itself. During the legendary feud between Death Row Records and Ruthless Records in the 1990s, Eazy-E used diss tracks as a direct attack on Dr. Dre, including explicit and deeply personal accusations meant to undermine and humiliate him publicly. In that era, rap battles weren't just about music, they were about total reputation destruction in real time. In the 90s, that kind of language wasn't just about disrespect, it was meant to completely destroy a rival's image. At first, fans treated it like typical battle rap aggression, harsh, over-the-top insults designed to land emotional damage in the middle of a heated industry war. But unlike many rap beef narratives, these rumors didn't fade once the conflict cooled down. Instead, they were revived and amplified years later by Suge Knight. Known for his controversial and often inconsistent public statements, Suge began making claims in interviews suggesting that during a heated confrontation involving Tupac, Dr. Dre allegedly made remarks that were interpreted as an admission regarding his sexuality. Over time, Suge's credibility has remained heavily debated, with his accounts shifting across different interviews and retellings, as noted in reporting from outlets like The Daily Beast. Still, the story didn't disappear. Other former Death Row affiliates, including figures like Mob James and Reggie Wright Jr., have also referenced aspects of the same narrative in various interviews, keeping it alive within hip-hop's unofficial oral history. However, it's crucial to note that none of these claims have ever been backed by concrete evidence, and unlike other situations in this series, no partner, spouse, or verified source has ever confirmed them. In many ways, it reflects a pattern from that era where sexuality was often turned into a weapon during industry warfare, regardless of truth. Dr. Dre, for his part, has never publicly engaged with the allegations. He has consistently chosen silence, allowing his career achievements, production legacy, and business success to define his public image instead of responding to rumors. His case highlights how 90s hip-hop feuds often extended beyond music into full psychological warfare, where reputation itself became the main battleground. But while Dre's situation was driven by rivalries and outside voices, Lil Wayne's controversy came from something far more visible: moments captured on camera and broadcast directly to the public eye. With Lil Wayne, the exact moment the speculation began can actually be traced back to something captured on camera. In the mid-2000s, during the height of Cash Money Records' dominance, photos and video clips surfaced showing Wayne and Birdman sharing a brief lip kiss. The footage seen in places like Rap City appearances and backstage moments was real, widely shared, and instantly turned into a talking point. In a genre where masculinity is often policed tightly, those images naturally sparked confusion, debate, and endless interpretation. It's important to understand the context behind their relationship. Wayne was still extremely young when he joined Cash Money, essentially growing up under Birdman's wing from his early teenage years. Their connection has long been described as more father and son than traditional business partners, shaped by mentorship, loyalty, and the intense environment of the music industry they were navigating together. When the footage resurfaced and became a topic of public discussion, Birdman later addressed it in a 2021 podcast interview, framing it as an expression of deep, paternal affection rather than anything romantic. He explained that he saw Wayne as his son, and in a lifestyle filled with danger and uncertainty, those moments were his way of showing love and possibly finality at the same time. He even stated he would repeat the gesture, reinforcing that, in his view, it came from a place of family rather than controversy. Media outlets like Vulture have since examined just how layered and complicated their bond has been, especially as business tensions later strained their relationship. Lil Wayne himself has largely brushed off the controversy over the years. He's pointed to his personal life, including relationships and children, as his own explanation and has expressed frustration at the way people sexualized what he consistently views as family affection. At the same time, his bold fashion choices and unconventional public image only intensified online debates, giving critics more angles to interpret his persona. At its core, though, Wayne's situation is built on visible, documented moments that the public chose to interpret in different ways. But in contrast, Young Thug's story doesn't begin with interpretation or accident. It begins with intention, shaped entirely by choices he made in full view of the world. Young Thug didn't wait for speculation to build around him, he stepped into the conversation on his own terms. Throughout his career, he has addressed questions about identity and perception more openly and more frequently than many artists in his lane. But in his case, the discussion wasn't triggered by hidden information or outside leaks. It was shaped by intentional artistic choices that challenged long-standing rules of rap masculinity. From wearing dresses and painting his nails to using intimate language for male friends in his lyrics, Thug consistently pushed against what hip-hop was traditionally expected to look like. One of the most defining moments of that approach came with the Jeffrey mixtape era, where he famously appeared in a floor-length gown on the cover, an image that instantly sparked global conversation.